Story 1. Paint or draw, then share it with strangers. I did not grow up with art and had no confidence in attempting it. During quarantine this spring, I taught myself watercolor and how to draw birds. I now sell prints and stickers and donate 100% of the profits to bird conservation groups. I just love birds. Story 2. I was walking down the street, realized I was going in the wrong direction, and made a U-turn without pretending to have forgotten anything. Story 3. Getting older and caring less about what people who do not matter think has been extremely liberating. I have also learned that most people are not actually paying attention when you do something embarrassing. They are usually in their own little worlds. I was a very self-conscious and eccentric child, but as an adult I have fully embraced my weird side. It is wonderful. I am who I am meant to be, and I am surrounded by amazing people. Story 4. I swam without a shirt. My sisters made fun of how I looked when I was about 12, and it stuck with me for years. Just the other day I went to the beach and realized I finally do not care anymore. Story 5. Saying how I feel is difficult. I usually kept my feelings to myself because I did not want to upset anyone. Story 6. Not really at present. I have not gone since February, but I go to the cinema alone. The first time I ever did, back in 2016, it felt weird to be honest. A mother even asked me if I was waiting for anyone when I saw Kong Skull Island, but now I actually prefer going alone most of the time. It means I do not have to worry about scheduling with a friend to find the best day. Do not get me wrong. I have still gone with friends, but 90 to 95% of the time I go alone. I can do whatever I want before or afterwards, whether looking around the shops or just going straight home. Story 7. English. I used to be terrible and my accent is still imperfect sometimes, but after more than 20 years of practice and a bachelor's degree from an English university, I am now quite proud to be bilingual. Story 8. Call other adults for appropriate reasons. Not very confidently, but much more so. Story 9. I can have conversations with people. I used to not be able to talk to anyone for any length of time unless I was drunk. Small talk and deep conversations were very hard for me. Now, 6 months later, I can talk for hours with people I have just met about anything under the sun. Story 10. Go out in public and be among crowds. When I first started using a wheelchair, I was hyper-aware of people staring at me, avoiding me, or acting strangely when interacting with me. Decades of using a wheelchair have desensitized me to that, and I hardly notice it now. Story 11. Stay calm around women I find attractive. I used to get anxious and even avoid them. Story 12. Say no. Many people struggle to say no. I used to as well. I received a lot of advice to be unapologetic, to say you do not owe anyone anything and you do not have to give a reason. That is bad advice and can harm your relationships. Instead, I realized that most people are reasonable. I present my case so the other person understands why I must say no. Most people understand and do not want to put you in a difficult position. If someone is not reasonable, there is no point explaining further and you must say no. But you should try to explain first. Story 13. Talking on the phone used to be difficult. I was cripplingly shy as a teenager, to the point that I would have to script what I was going to say before phoning for an appointment. Then, age 21, I got a job in a call center, and now I can phone anyone with ease, although I would never say it is my favorite thing. I will even complain about shoddy customer service on the phone now. Flood therapy works. Story 14. I embrace my absolute love for pink after years of deluding myself into believing I was not like the other girls. Laughing out loud. Update, my first set of awards. I am so glad everyone is breaking out of their shells into the wonderful world of pink. Now I must ask, red pink or purple pink? Story 15. I'm the fat girl at the gym. For my entire adulthood I held back my workouts for fear of jiggling, sweating, my breasts bouncing, and heavy breathing. I get red in the face with any exertion. Finally, I got quality clothes that fit properly and supportive bras that keep my breasts in place. And now I'm proud of how hard I work. I sweat through my clothes every workout. My hair gets soaked. I love leaving drips under my heavy bag. Now my coaches use me as an example of what to do if you want higher intensity in the exercise we are doing. I love it. Only 2 more hours until class starts. Story 16. I will wear a mask over my face when entering a bank to get the money. Story 17. Dance. Whenever the opportunity arose during puberty and early adulthood, I would stand in the corner, too shy to move and worried about how I looked. I would sidestep shyly if I felt pressured and even felt nervous about not doing anything. Then one weekend at a music festival, something suddenly clicked. I started flailing my arms and making the silliest moves to the music, and I had the best time. If there is a party, I'm dancing all night with everyone. It might look ridiculous, but I'll be damned if I'm not having the best time. Story 18. I used to be self-conscious about eating alone in restaurants, at least before the coronavirus pandemic, but now I do not give it a second thought. Life is too short to skip the meal you want, especially if it will improve your mood just because you are worried about what people around you might think. Enjoy yourself and what you are doing. Story 19. I love being out in the woods. I was born and raised in New York City, so even though I wanted to experience the outdoors, it always seemed inaccessible and scary. One afternoon, after a terrible day, I decided to go for it. I researched and found a beginner-friendly trail within an hour of the city. I could not finish the trail that day. It felt like it went on forever, and I turned back because I was afraid of getting lost. I still enjoyed the experience and decided to try again. A year later, I was able to complete a trail and enjoy the payoff of amazing views. I became really into hiking and gradually learned navigation and wilderness survival skills. Now, even though I was born and raised in the city, I am an avid hiker, camper, kayaker, and backpacker, and I often feel more at home in the mountains than in this concrete jungle. Thank you for the award. I am proud that my first award on Reddit was a tree hug award. If you are thinking of trying outdoor sports, please do. The planet needs more advocates to protect its beauty. Brush up on the leave no trace principles before heading out to minimize our impact on these places. When in doubt, remember, take only pictures and leave only footprints. Story 20. Telling the truth. I used to be so terrified of disappointing people that I would lie to keep them happy. They say the truth will set you free. It will also make some people dislike you, but that's okay. Story 21. Asking for help is difficult. I have endured more trouble and passed up more opportunities than I would like to admit because I was afraid to ask someone for help. Needing help does not mean you are weak, and accepting help does not mean others pity you. Story 22. Driving. I am still cautious and safe but less terrified of making mistakes and panicking. I am more comfortable driving different vehicles. If someone had asked me at 18 to drive a truck or a sport utility vehicle, I would have said no way, but now I have experience and would not hesitate. Story 23. I farted in front of my significant other. I had an ex who was not so nice about it. Story 24. Drop a deuce in a public bathroom. Edit. Thank you for the awards. I will save the Mountain Dew fridge pack for another thread. Story 25. I go out to eat alone. I am married, and that is great. We go out together, but now and again I like my own company, a good meal, and a good book. I don't care. Story 26. Wearing pink and purple as a man used to make me feel strange. My wife convinced me to buy shirts for work in those colors. Now they are basically all I wear. I receive many compliments and I feel great wearing them. Story 27. Ever since I started singing out loud for my kids, I realized it does not matter what you sound like as long as you are enjoying yourself. Story 28. I was going to say rim jobs, then I saw all the thoughtful answers. Edit. Thanks for the awards, folks. I'll pay it forward with rim jobs, of course. Story 29. Talk like a goofball to my kids. Read in silly voices. Back when I only had one child, I was not even comfortable doing it when I was home alone with him. Now I can be silly at the store, in front of strangers with my kids. Story 30. I am not living my life according to other people's opinions and expectations. I go barefoot, grow vegetables, and finally have chickens. Life is so good when I am not stressed all the time. Let go of toxic people and get a kettle. It will change your life. Story 31. Talking to executive-level audiences always made me feel awkward in the past because they seemed so senior to me. Now I am a bit older and a bit wiser, and I have more experience and exposure to chief executives and other senior leaders. Most of them are really nice, down-to-earth people. I also now speak to my dog in public, so take my previous comment as you wish. I do not care if you think it is strange that I talk to my dog as if he were a person. He understands what I am saying most of the time. Story 32. I'm just staring into space. Everyone was always on their phones, so I felt the need to look at something too, but now, nah. Story 33. Saying I dislike football is like a cardinal sin in the United Kingdom. During middle school, I pretended to like it to fit in. I picked a team, Arsenal, and tried to watch games. That made me dislike it more. Through secondary school and into my first job, when I said I did not like football, it was usually a cue for harassment, such as being told they were not a real man or being asked, "What are you, gay?" and so on. Now I am happy to say it and could not care less how it is received. Story 34. I quit caring. I am not well liked, but I am liked, and that is better than before. Story 35. Smile, laugh. I have one misaligned tooth that makes my smile look like I am missing a tooth. As a child, my parents could not afford braces, so I covered my mouth when I laughed. I was teased a lot and given me nicknames. Then my first boyfriend came along and made me realize I am amazing as I am. He made a point of complimenting my smile every time we went out. It has gotten better since then. I am almost 30 and no longer care. Now I find it one of my cutest features. Story 36. Tell my friends that I love them. Edited to add that this is my first award on Reddit. Thank you. Story 37. I enjoy having sex and being open about what I want with a partner in bed. When I first had sex, I was mortified by the act itself and by telling a partner what I liked and disliked. I never thought that years later I could not only love doing it but also be able to say what pleases me and what does not. I was always embarrassed about it. Not going to lie. I am not sure whether speaking up or the fear of being rejected while in such a vulnerable position caused that. But now I wonder why I was so embarrassed, because being open makes the experience better for both me and the other person. Story 38. Speaking in public. I got a job in sales that required me to give presentations. After my first solo presentation, the customer told me that I was terrible and would never make a good salesperson. I went back to my car and threw up. Now I give presentations multiple times a day. I am so used to it that I can devote most of my attention to gauging audience reaction, allowing me to adjust the pitch and emphasize or de-emphasize topics based on their interest. That original customer was demoted about a year ago, which was satisfying. Now I deal mostly with his former assistant who has the job. Story 39. In India, people look down on you if you listen to Hindi music, read Hindi books, or are a fan of Bollywood. Growing up, I felt the need to completely westernize myself. Listen only to English music and watch only Hollywood movies. Over the last few years, I have been embracing my native language and culture. It has required rediscovering my past, watching amazing films I missed because I thought I was too cool for them, and finally playing Hindi music on my speakers. It is liberating to embrace your roots. Story 40. Letting my weird out. I used to try to fit in with everyone. I pretended to like sports, shooter games, or whatever the group was into and talked about. Finally, I embraced being different from the normal crowd, and I don't care. I like obscure Japanese games people in my area have not heard about, collecting cool-looking bottles and glasses and pretending I am a wizard making potions, listening to show tunes and Disney movies, and enjoying girly alcoholic drinks. I don't know. What seems weird to people and what I enjoy often line up. Story 41. Fake confidence became real confidence after practicing for a little while. I am very thankful. I used to be so shy, but now I have many opportunities open to me because I went for it. Story 42. Embrace the power of the pause. When you ask a question, allow a silent pause afterward to build tension that compels an answer. The longer the silence, the more compelling the tension and the more effective it is at getting someone to speak. Story 43. Calling myself a lesbian made me uncomfortable, so I called myself gay. It was not internalized homophobia. I did not like the word. Story 44. I email my professors when I have questions. It used to terrify me. I go out by myself now. Even going to the grocery store used to make me anxious. Now I am totally fine going to bars alone. I am also very slowly coming around to the idea of dancing, just when no one else is watching. Suck it, post-traumatic stress disorder. Suck it, Jeff. Story 45. I prefer confronting the problem or the people who have issues with me, rather than making small talk behind their backs. Before, I did not know how to address confrontation without sounding like a bitch. After a lot of experience in corporate life, it has been a godsend. Now it is easier to talk things out with colleagues, supervisors, or direct reports, and this reduces bad blood in the office. It was not easy, and I do not believe you automatically become equipped with this skill as you get older. Having a solution-oriented mindset and genuinely wanting a peaceful life will push you to see other perspectives. When confronting someone, the first questions I ask are, what was the root cause? How did it develop, and how can we resolve it amicably? Story 46. Watching cartoons even though I'm a grown-up. When everyone was watching Game of Thrones, I was obsessed with Gravity Falls and Hilda. Everyone was like you. I find them amazing. I used to close my laptop when I saw someone coming nearby. I don't anymore. They can shove their opinions. I don't care. Story 47. I do not wear a bra when I leave the house. Quarantine freed my breasts, and they will never be oppressed again. Story 48. Most things. Being young is awkward. I love the liberation of getting older and caring less. Story 49. Go to work. I feel comfortable and do not have panic attacks in the parking lot anymore. Story 50. Speak my mind. Not in an asshole way. Just stop worrying about what other people think of every little thing. What do you want to eat? Wanting cheeseburgers, I used to say, oh, I don't know. What are you in the mood for? Now I just say cheeseburgers. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So much less exhausting. Story 51. Compliment strangers. One time I was very sick and felt like I was dying. A flight attendant stopped me as I was leaving the plane to tell me I had an amazing smile. It made me feel so much better and made it easier to get through the day. Ever since then, I have given one stranger a genuine compliment every day. It started out as very anxiety-inducing. I felt strange stopping strangers for a second to give them a compliment. Most reactions have been positive, and sometimes I would pass someone later in a store and see them smiling to themselves. I like to think I have brightened someone's day a little. Now it comes naturally, and I barely think about it before it happens. Story 52. Pooping in public. I used to not care, but now I do. Story 53. Self-service, if you catch my drift. Growing up in a hyper-religious household and community, certain acts were heavily condemned. This included one's sexuality and desires. Story 54. Taking care of babies. When I was young, my mother wouldn't let me babysit. She wouldn't even let me hold a baby, even those in our family. She always warned me about what could happen if I dropped a baby, if there was a fire, or if a burglar came. When I got married, we had 3 children, and I learned about babies fast. Now I am a whiz with them. Story 55. Look people in the eye when speaking to them. I was unemployed for 4 months a while back, and attending many interviews helped me a lot. Story 56. I used to be embarrassed by my dad picking up rubbish from the floor and putting it in a bin when we were out as a family. I now actively go out with a litter picker, happy and confident that I am doing something good. Sorry, Dad. Story 57. After I told people I watch anime, I realized their lives must be pretty miserable if they call someone names for liking something. Story 58. Wearing a dress. This year I started embracing my feminine side after years of denying it and rejecting my true self. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.